Good morning. Welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd Grubb here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering wisdom for living on this here Friday morning. Rise and shine and give God the glory. And this morning here, I'm looking at a topic. It is not a laughing matter, sobering thoughts. It is not a laughing matter, sobering thoughts. I'm looking at here at Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1 through 8. So welcome again. Hopefully you had a blessed night rest and ready to take on the challenges of this day. And thanks for joining me here as I try to share some meditation and thoughts. Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, I thank you again for the blessings of your word. I thank you for the blessings, dear Lord, of being able to partake. And I pray that, Lord, you may bless my mind and the minds of those listening as I share some thoughts on Ecclesiastes chapter 7. May you bless us, we pray, for Christ's sake. Amen. So I'm looking here at it is not a laughing matter, sobering thoughts. It is not a laughing matter, sobering thoughts. So I gathered this from Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1 through 8. Ecclesiastes 7, verse 1 through 8. And there's a famous saying that how a famous leader fiddled while Rome, I think it was, burned. I think it was Nero or something like that. And my takeaway point here to you is avoid fiddling while your life is burning down. And this is so much what goes on in life from day to day. It is important for you to avoid fiddling while your life is burning down, while you're in trouble, and you seem to not be aware of it, unless it's you caught the fire yourself and you want it to burn. And this is where we are in society, that so much of society is so focused on living their best life, living their happiest life, that it's really they're watching their life burn down and they're trying to have more fun instead of stop and go ahead and live their best life. So sometimes it's a difference in how you view what is your best life and how you want to be able to live your life. And so many people want to live it right here and now. And a little bit after this, they've had a good time, a lot of partying, a lot of fun. And now the payments are coming due and it becomes overwhelming, and some people basically fall apart and get very depressed and live their worst life. And others decide that it's going to be the worst life. It's worse right now and it's getting worser. So they're going to check out. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to be like those or like that. And I know this is against the grain, especially in Christianity, because Christianity, what we call evangelical or mainline Christianity, is focused on celebration. They're celebrating because Christ died on the cross. They came up with this concept that they're now celebrating as if they're in heaven already, because Jesus paid it all to him I owe. And yet you didn't find this in the New Testament church. They were dealing with persecution and all kind of stuff like that. But yet these modern Christians say, yeah, we're in heaven already. Let's celebrate, baby. And the party has started. So the party has not started. So here we go now. So I want to look at this with you here. And I want to, before I read Ecclesiastes chapter 7, I want to read Proverbs chapter 18, verse 12. Proverbs 18, verse 12 says, before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty, and before honor is humility. So before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty. One thing I can say, this is solidly true in so many different experiences. You know, it's over the years, is a text like this, it just grows because of the experiences in life. It was important when I first read it, and I thought that's powerful. But as the years roll by, it becomes more prominent and powerful. And you see this where the heart will be lifted up high, like way high, so high that I could touch the sky. And when that thing hit and trouble hit, it's like, it's before destruction. I find this familiar. I see this narrative, especially when you see somebody get like an award, they get a big promotion, they get something. And there's, man, time to celebrate. And they go do something, next you know this, you see them being arrested for DUI, or they beat some with their wives, or something happened and they just brought low. It is weird how that principle works. But I think it's simple. This principle here: before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty, full of himself. He think he's so great, and trouble is coming because the haughtiness is going to cause people to trip up. This is why pride in anything that is unreasonable pride or foolish pride become destructive, because the person is just full of themselves and talking foolishness and doing foolishness and making missteps, thinking they're probably living their best lives. But notice here, before honor is humility. So before honor is humility. You have to humble yourself, and the Lord will raise you up, and you'll be getting, up, because there's always a principle to bring something down and the principle to bring you back up. Life is a wave form. So when you're at the top of the wave, just remember, it's like a roller coaster ride. You're coming down, baby, and it's going to come down hard. And if you're up there and you're giddy, you might not pay attention. And next thing you know, you feel like, if you remember watching those cartoons when they make the cartoon image run off the side of a cliff and it stays there, and you realize, I'm not on solid ground anymore. But if you know you're up and you're humble, you know that coming down is going to be brutal, but you're able to hold on because you're prepped up for it. And you're going to probably scream, but not scream as much as somebody like, no, there's no down. I'm like, yeah, you're going to go down. It's going down. So in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 now, verse 1 through 8, we read. I'll read it one time through, then we're going to talk a little bit about this. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1 through 8 says, a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. This also is vanity. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and gift destroy the heart. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. So powerful verses there. This is written how many thousands of years ago, so it makes it even more potent. This is where the reverse thinking. You think about a lot of the society who believe they evolved. They will say the Bible is no good because it's old. But I think it's profound when you read it this year and you can see it in the society currently. You realize, so you're saying to me, because they said 2,000 years ago or so, and further, people were in caves. Thousands of years ago, people were like cavemen. They read a writing like this, you're like, ain't nothing different. The people now is behave the same way. You go to a party and there's, alcohol, marijuana, coke, and blah, blah, blah. Everybody's being messed up. And everybody's a bunch of losers. And their life is going to be a wreck. Their life is worse than any TV movie. Just a bunch of out of control experience. And been to parties. So I know. It's not a good experience. But when you're there, it's a great experience. It seems great. You're all enthralled with it. Fascinated by it, blown away. But the long term, it's a mess. But the short term, it seems great. And this is what he's talking about here. It's this concept. So when you look at it, you say, wait a minute, so nothing has changed. And we think about this, Solomon writing this. If anybody could write this, it's none of these simpletons that are running around saying they're superstars. Solomon was living a more superstar life than all of them. Remember, R. Kelly right now is in all kind of federal and local trouble with the law for the little life he lived. Solomon lived way above that type of life. What he did, he can't touch what Solomon did. Nobody ever tell us the age of some of these females that Solomon was married to. You don't. He was. I believe he was doing all of that. He was dealing with all those young chicks and all that. And yet you look at it and he says, look, it's destruction. The destruction is there. It is not what you think it is. It's the misery. It's the pain. And that's what he experienced. So if anybody knows about this, he knows. But somebody will say, oh no, but that was written thousands of years ago. It can't be relevant. Of course it's relevant. That's what makes it so much of a gem. You can hold it in your hand. You can be like, yep, here goes Epstein. How did he end? Because it says here, it is the end of a thing is better than the beginning of the thing. Notice here in verse 8 again, better is the end of a thing than the beginning. Think about Bernie Madoff, with all the coke he'd taken, all the prostitute he slept with. And you say, well, what's the end of that? Where his son, surely if they got the guilty plea and he sent him to prison, or he accepted his crimes, his son killed himself. Like, good way to end your life, Bernie. In prison with your kids popping off and they changing their name, and it's just shame and disgrace. The end of the thing is better. So, but I'm sure when he was having his coke parties, he was like, man, this is great. And he was like, nope, it's not good. So verse 1 again, Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 1, as we look at, it is not a laughing matter, sober in thoughts. Because when you're not thinking the thing is a joke, you don't take it as serious. This is where I get the thought from, right? So have somebody ever say something to you, but they didn't say it's sad or scared or happy or anxious. They just tell you the information. You'd be like, okay. You'd be like, okay, so that's good information, I guess. But there's no much emotion with it, or they didn't emphasize certain things, or they didn't say, hey, look, you understand what I'm saying here? You need to pay attention. Or they probably say joke, like they say something scary, but they say it in a joking way. You'd be like, okay. And then later on something happened, and you'd be like, I wish this person had explained to me what they were saying, because something bad happened, and you'd be like, it's the same thing the person said it to me, but they say it to me like they're a fool. They say it to me like it's a joke, so I didn't take them serious. And then something happened, you'd be like, oh, this was serious. That person was saying, why did they make me know? Emphasizing, like if you walk over to a person and say, there's a fire over there, and the person like, what? You probably should get out of the building. Ha ha ha, there's a fire. It's not serious. It is how the situation comes. And so when you're in an experience where it's all a joke, and we're joking about things and laughing about things that people should be sad about, then the emergency is not there, because the person could think it's not going to be a big deal. What's the big deal? It's that reality here we're going to look at. So it's not a laughing matter. Sobering thoughts are very important, but our society right now are into clowning, entertainment, more and more entertainment and more jokes. And the jokes keep coming, but things keep getting worse. The jokes keep coming and things keep getting worse. So notice here, a good name is better than precious ointment, and a day of death than the day of one's birth. So I'm sure if you have read this, you have thought about this much. What do you want? You want a big celebration at your birth, or you want a big celebration at your death? You want to finish your life where, if you had a choice, probably born and somebody gave you for adoption and you just had a rough upbringing, and then when you end, people like giving you all accolades, and people just have been blessed by you. You've blessed people who are less fortunate. You bless the society. Or you would prefer to have the perfect home. You were receiving love by your parent, and then your life just went downhill, and by the time you're in your 20s, 30s, whatever, you just dropped dead and never really accomplished nothing in life. Now, most essentially, if you could have both, if you could have a nice home, stable family, and then have a beautiful ending, where the end part of your life, you contributed, you accepted the Lord, you live a life worthy of to be called a son and daughter of God, then that's a good ending. It's good when you can end And even if you make missteps in your life, but you overcame, you won some victories, people can recognize the fact that you struggled, you made a mark. That to me is a good life. Now somebody say, no bro, taking coke all day long is a good life. And I'm not in that belief system. I believe that life is more to offer and more exhilarating when you're high on life and when you accomplish some things and you bless some people. So if you could get both, you get both. But if it was a choice, I would go for the rough upbringing and the good ending. Now, if I could get the good upbringing and good ending, then that's a sweet life, a happy childhood. I didn't get my childhood stolen from, all that stuff. Then that would be better. So a good name is better than a precious ointment. A good name is better than whatever you can have in this life. Somebody could say, yeah, but bro, if you can get the choice between owning a mansion and a Lamborghini and the hottest crazy person to marry to, and a good name, which will you take? I'll take the good name. You see, so that's the issue. But there's some people. No, if you can get both, God bless you. But if you can get a choice, what will you take? Good name? A good name is better than precious ointment. So frankincense and myrrh, I guess that's a precious ointment. Whatever the precious ointment is, it's a good name. See, Solomon slipped away and he got blessed. Lord mercy endured forever, because he was going to end in infamy and shame. And all that was going to become naught because he was going to die and be sent off to hell when Christ come the third time. But the Lord blessed him and he woke up from his nonsense. See, a good name is better because in the house of mirth is trouble, is problems. And I would believe, this is what I personally believe in this text, a good name is better than precious ointment. And the day of death than the day of mirth, because I've been to quite a few funerals, quite a lot of funerals. Not much as, say somebody passed in a church with a few hundred or a few thousand people. But one thing I can say when I'm at a funeral, it is tough because you can see, and even especially before a person die, if you're around a person that died, a person that's dying and is just dying in shame and dying with nothing, you can see the brokenness. And yet the person might tell you, I had some good time. I wasn't sober for most of it. So I can't remember what they were, but I'm sure it was good while I was not sober. What's the point? I always remember this friend I used to work with, this guy I used to work with, became very friendly with. And he was telling me that he one time went to a party. And he said he went to a party and he said, remember, he went to the party and the party was, whack. It was nothing going on. There was just music playing and people just standing around talking. And he said, come on, man, let's party. And he said, woo. And he got to get on the floor and he started dancing and the party started and people started partying. And then he says he walked off the dance floor, went over to the bar and started drinking. And he says he got home. He said he don't remember anything about the party for the rest of the night. He said, just remember going to the floor, get everybody on the floor to start partying. Then he went to the bar and he says he got home. He don't know how he got home. I don't remember what happened for the rest of the party. He said he got that drunk that he don't remember. He just knew he was home the next day. And I was just thinking, wow, what's the point? You're not even enjoying the experience because you're not sober. Because part of being sober is your senses are fully heightened so you can experience the experience. So, the day of death than the day of one's birth. How the thing is going to start is one thing, but how it's going to end, it's another thing. And it's better it ends good. Like, you've been to movies, I'm sure, and you've seen a movie before. It's all the time they write movies, especially like thrillers. I think that's the name of it. These action thrillers. They write it and the ending is everything. It's always going to end. The plot, how the plot twists and how it ends. And if it ends great, the movie's a hit. But normally people live vicariously through movies. They escape their reality because their reality is not a movie. See, I believe it's better your lifestyle is like a movie. And you're going to win the bad guy, the monsters. And the end of it, somebody could say, man, I watched this guy movie. I watched this gal movie. And the movie was good. And the end of the movie where it said the end, and here we are now at the funeral, man, that was a good movie. Because they won some battles and they gained some victories. And they gave it to the monsters. and that to me is what it is. These are dragon slayers. But so many people that the only movie they're gonna get to have a happy ending and a good ending is gonna be the movie they see at the cinema. Their life could be boring. Their life could be just a bunch of bag of mess, bag of. It's their movie. Their life is more like a soap opera, a novellas. It's just a bunch of drama and just depression and just taking alcohol or drugs to soothe their depression. We don't want to have that life. We want to have a life where it is a movie. You know, with movie, there's all kind of scenes in the movie. Or there could be a movie like where it's just one bag of action, but you're slain. You want to be slain. You want to be winning. This is, to me, is the wisdom of life. You don't want to be always losing and be a loser, and then you hide your losing, depressing state by saying, hey, it's time to drink some alcohol. Let's get drunk because I can't face life. See, this is the foolish way of living. We don't want to live fools and die like fools. This is very depressing. I'm sure you've been to some funerals and it was depressing. Or so you heard about the person got buried. You couldn't even care emotionally because the person lived such a life of pain and suffering to others because they were all about themselves and they weren't really good even to their own selves. In verse 2, it says, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. So sobering thoughts. These are sobering thoughts. Because one would not think so. You know, when you're at a place where it's giddy and it's a bunch of fools, what it is you have to be there to know. You know, the more sinful and downright dirty people are, it's not a happy place. You know, they've done their research and they've shown that the people that grew up in areas where it's a war zone or it's the war zone, combat zones, but we're talking about regular combat zones in residential neighborhoods, they have PTSD. That's just the reality. And yet this is their lifestyle. So it could look, oh, it's so pretty. Look at it. This guy, oh, all my friends are a bunch of this or a bunch of that. But you never see anybody everybody that comes out of a home. I've known people over the years that they've been in homes where their family, especially if the guy in the home was on alcohol or drugs, they all have PTSD. They might not say it, but they all have sadness and deep pain and suffering because of the pain that guy especially have caused the family. Because of all the disappointments, of all the letdown, of all the immorality, all of that stuff that goes on. It's a lot of pain. And sometimes people hide their pain, but the pain is deep. And that's just the reality. Because it's not a laughing matter. These are very sobering realities. And you see that, you say, oh no. You see like that shooting that happened 2 days ago in Nicetown, Pennsylvania, which is, outskirts of Philadelphia near Temple University. Think about the people who live, and that's their lifestyle. It's like police raids. Think about the women and the men that were caught up into the house while you have SWAT teams, police swarm the place, shooting at the building, and you're inside the building. And that's your lifestyle. That's your experience. And yet somebody could say, oh, but in those communities, it's so much fun. What is so fun? You go in any of those communities, put in the zip code and search a database for pedophiles and sexual criminals. And you find that those places are swarming. Probably not swarming like bees or wasp, but they have a whole bunch of that in there. The environment is not a pretty environment. And so people come out with all the trauma. And somebody could say, yeah, but man, look at the fun. There's always fun going on in these areas. It's fun, all right. It's very much fun. It is fun to the hilt. I mean, if you watch that thing a few days ago that was going on in that area, you think this is movie, and you think, wait, no. Even for movies, they don't normally bring out that much police cars. At the end of the movie, there's always a police cars come out, and they get there late, and the hero, slew the bad guy. And then the police get there. This time, the police was there trying to slay the bad guy, and they were having a hard time. And this is our neighborhoods. How's that go? These people are traumatized. And as I say, when you in a house, now the house normally is let's say again, I'm reading verse 2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. Now somebody said, no way. I've been in a crack den. I've been in a crack house. It's better in there. No, it's not. It's not. Because what's going on? What's going on in the house of feasting? Because it might seem like, oh, it's so good, but it's a lot of broken hearts. It's a lot of, loss of trust. Because that house of feasting ain't nothing good going on. As somebody told me very clearly, is that when you start off with drugs and alcohol, you're sharing it. But as it gets deeper, you start becoming more selfish because the addiction is becoming more powerful. And everything you're doing is not to bless those around you. It's to curse them. You never see a family prosper financially, socially, spiritually, morally when drugs and alcohol has taken hold, especially, period, anybody, male or female, but especially the husband. A lot of time guys get caught up into that. Family can prosper. And there's a lot of brokenness, a lot of lack of trust, like a lot of never knowing where we're going to crash and burn again because of the bad habit. So it is better when you see the partying is going on, people are trying to fornicate, and you never know. Is my friend's going to try to fornicate with my girlfriend? It's a lot of that stuff goes on because it's a house of feasting. It's a house of mirth. It's a party going on over here and it's a party going on over there. But when people go into the party with all the lust, with a lot of see who I can get, and a lot of lack of self-control, as a lot of gang rape happens at parties because they're trying to either drop something into the girl's food and then rape her, or into her drink, I should say. A lot of date rape. It's a lot of, think about the Me Too movement and you think about what that was all about. It's all fun. Somebody going to a comedian and they hear the comedian, oh, they're so funny, they laugh, and then next thing the comedian is on top of them. It might seem, oh man, this was great, but then people come out and say, oh, I was abused. I'm like, wait a minute, you're following a rock and roller and you expect him to treat you how? Oh no, he abused me, sexually abused. But that's what it's all about. And some of it I get, but some of it I don't get. Like, what did you expect to go to a house where it's a party going on and you expect to get what kind of treatment? Oh, I went with this rapper. He's a rapper. He's supposed to abuse you. You go to get abused. But most people sometimes I guess don't think like that. They think I'm living my best life. You're living your best abuse life. So this is where the difference is for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. So that's just the reality. But when you're in a house that is serious, you're trying to deal with serious matter. Sometimes I think about the subjects we talk about here, the subjects we talk about at church, and we're dealing with always, for the most part in life, some of the most serious subjects. Is to me, it's like a elastic band. You pull it and then you release. You pull it and you release. And what that does is that you deal with serious subjects so you can make choices to avoid certain pitfalls in life. But when you're in the house of vapidity or vapidness, just nothing, brainlessness, it's just music, talk about the latest gadgets and stuff like that. It's just about the weather, nothing. You didn't have to deal with anything. It's just, life is just very surface and very vapid and very brainless, mindlessness. And you do this. So anything bad's going on in society, you don't want to know about because you just want to stay on the happy side. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about something. This is so serious to me because sometimes I'm dealing with a situation where I know somebody. I know I covered a subject, and somebody was in the church sleeping while I covered the subject, and they go out there and make this the same subject I was talking about. They go out there and make the dumbest decision opposite to what I was talking about. And I know they were asleep. They didn't even hear it. One thing they heard it and they made a dumb decision. That's even worse. But the fact that they presented themselves, sat down for the sermon, and then went to sleep, and then go out there and make the dumbest decisions in their life, and you're looking at you saying, "Wow, a member." And I see this, and I'm like, "But you see, that was a sober house because the aim was to share sobering thoughts." But the person wasn't into sobering thoughts. They want to deal with some comedy, some joke stuff. They want to be happy. And then they do that dumb choices. To me, it is the saddest thing to watch. And when you look at this, that's what the Bible says, it's better to go into a house of mourning. Because why in the house of mourning, you're taking serious thing. What just happened? Why this person die? How did he die? It's a serious house. What kind of disease? What's the disease? See, think about it. This is so serious as what I have later on in the list to what's happening in our society. Because right now we're in a house. It's like the whole nation is a house of mirth. There's, the young man that did the shooting in Dayton, Ohio. Yesterday came out with a report of, how many bullets hit who and who shot who. But part of the report, they came up with this toxicology report. And in this toxicology report, he had 3 drugs. I think he had alcohol in his system, cocaine, and Xanax. I think those are the 3. I could be wrong. Somewhere there. Right? So he was in the house of mirth, and they said he had drug paraphernalia on him. That was reported a few days before. So you're going to do a crime. And I've seen this happen. And I can't figure out, is it they do the drugs to numb them, to psych them up, to do both, all of the above? Or is it what it is? Because you think about this, right? You think about anything that you've been angry about in the last, say, 3 months. Something happened, you were like mad about it. And you're sober. Now imagine the same emotions, but now you're on some type of drug that pushes that emotions. And take that emotion that you're having and hamp it up. How much hamped up it could be. So it could be that he took the drugs and alcohol to numb him. So that whatever he's going to do, he doesn't have any conscience about it. And he just can freely do it. I don't know if he took it so that just in case he gets shot, he would be numb also. Because they said they hit him with 24 bullets. And he tried to get up. And because he tried to get up a few times. And they kept on shot at him until he stayed down. So he was in, he went literally to, I think, a bar first. And he was in a house of mirth. The people there in those bars, I think one of the bars called Ned Peters or something, they were in a house of mirth. It was a good night. Nothing serious to consider. But yet, there's some serious things to consider. My diet, my lifestyle, all these things need to be serious. So notice here verse 3. It says, sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. You take things more serious. I think the sad thing in life here that I believe, and I think this is coming from the evangelical Protestant churches that have made everything a celebration. You notice you don't go to funerals anymore. You go to the celebration of the person's life. Now, some people's life, you could go there, you could celebrate it. It's nothing wrong with that per se, the concept. But it's still a place of mourning. And we have lost sight of that. And there's people going to funerals and they don't mourn anymore, the death of the person. Death is a bad thing. And I guess you only mourn if it's a tragic loss. And you're trying to make sense. But sometimes death is just tragic. There's no making sense out of nothing. It is what it is. Now, I know somebody said, well, so you want people to wall on the floor. Not necessarily wall on the floor, but you need to take things to heart. You need to have sobering thoughts. You need to know that this is not a laughing matter. But so much now, what it is that we're celebrating. And I don't know sometimes what is there to celebrate. And so why? Because if you're always in a state where everything is a celebration, the moment I saw some of the shootings, I said, well, think about it. The young man that did the shooting 2 days ago, there's so much shootings going on. But the young man that did the shootings 2 days ago in Philadelphia again. The moment I saw that shooting, I was thinking, before they even capture him, I'm watching the video feed, the live feed, and I'm thinking, if right now they could get him on the phone with what's his name? Joel Austin. Joel Austin will tell you, son, your best days are ahead of you. You're going to prison. And probably his best days are ahead of him. Probably he's going to go to prison now and get converted to Christianity or Islam or some other kind of religion. Probably his best days is to be behind bars because he can't be allowed to walk free. But I don't think normally that's how he preaches it. He preaches it that your best is ahead of you. But many people today, their best day is not ahead of them. Today, yesterday was their best day. Today, they're going to die. And it is okay to deal with sorrow because sorrow is part of our range of emotions. And my thing is not that we can't be laughing and happy, but it is too much emphasis that you can sometimes stop and say, I just took a loss. I just got an L. It is okay to acknowledge the fact that in this life, sometimes you suffer losses. And that's basically what I'm emphasizing here. We can laugh, and we do laugh. We do laugh about things that some might think, why are you laughing? Because it's a joke. Sometimes even tragedy is a joke. And that's just the reality. When the Bible talks about it in Proverbs says God will laugh at people's calamity because some calamities is a joke. Sometimes even calamities will happen to you and I, and we laugh at our own calamity. Because it's how serious can you take this? Because sometimes you're talking to a person and they refuse to listen and they go there and get their buttocks beaten. And it's a joke. They should laugh and we should laugh because they were told not to go down that road. So it is this idea here that we have to be in touch with all of our emotions, and we can't have one type of emotion. Because in life, when you get hit and you take a loss, you have to sorrow and stop and acknowledge the fact that this is a loss. And learn the lesson from that loss. And don't say, I'm going to keep moving forward. Sometimes you have to stop and say, I just took an L. This is a loss right here. And I need to acknowledge my loss and see what I can learn from it and get a sobering lesson so I can sober up. But if you think about, I really believe why many people don't sober up because they can't come to terms that they just suffer a loss. I've seen people, they're sick, and I remember one time I was talking to this young lady and she's talking to me, and she had cancer, and she's talking and she's saying, and she's talking about, like next month she's going to do this and she's going to do that. And I'm like, okay, but you calling me to talk to me about you have cancer. And I remember just talking to her and I'm like, she's just so optimistic. And I felt like she was deflecting. And I remember coming off the phone and the first thought in my mind is, she's dead. She's deflecting. Now, somehow, I'm going to tell you the truth. If I'd talked to me soberly and said, look, this is serious. This is grave. I'm in trouble. What am I going to do? I believe she will still be alive. I really believe that. Somebody say, how you know? I believe there's a strong possibility. Put it that way. I blamed, and the moment I said, man, she's not serious. She's trying to think the pep talk is going to get her through. No, it's grave talk. Grave, Grave, it's going to get you through. You got to know, this is a hit. I just took a hit. I just took a massive hit. What am I going to do? I need to get serious. But the person like, oh, no. Like, stop the pep in your step talk. This is real life. This is a problem. We have a problem here. But you could be, oh, no, let's laugh about it. Ain't nothing to laugh about. For 2.5 years, I've heard a lot of stuff. I heard kids getting locked in caged. I heard a lot of stuff going on. And all of it is serious. And 2 days ago, I saw on the news that the president had changed his policy, where before, if you came in the country legally within 2 years, anything with less than 2 years, and you were within 100 miles of the border, something like that, they could arrest you and immediately deport you without no court order. Okay. Well, in July 23rd, the president changed that anywhere in the country, they could grab you and no processing, no court, no nothing, and deport you. And you have to go, if an agent come to you, you have to show paperwork that you're here legally. And somebody said, so I took that to heart. Now somebody said, well, all this stuff that's happening, why would you take that to heart? Because see, that instinctively, without much thought, and the longer I think about it, but immediately with much thought, it sounds like the most depressing thing they have done so far. And somebody said, but the babies in the kitchen, yeah, that's depressing. But you see, this starts sounding like Adolf Hitler. That's sounding like, put a sign on the person, a Jewish cross on the person, a Jewish cross, a Jewish star. It does just sound like something you've seen out of some movies where you're walking around and they're like, show me ID. Or you one of those Jews, you're going to the concentration camp. Now again, for me, that's some scary stuff. But I could spin it to you here and we could laugh about it. And the first thought in my mind is, this is what the American public want on us brown people. Because if I'm standing there and a Ukrainian is standing next to me, I'm legal, I'm a U.S. citizen, not born here, I must speak with an accent. The Ukrainian is going to speak with their skin color. Who the INS agent going to come over to and say, show me your paper? It's going to be me. So it is racially motivated. Somebody says, oh no, that's just talking foolishness. Well, that's my opinion. And it's not an opinion, it's reality. People like to talk in foolish talk. This is the reality of life. It's wickedness. And the moment I say that, I say, God gotta step in. Or the next thing in my mind is, well, probably God people are sealed already. So God is going to start breaking loose the darkness of the society on each other. But this is what they want for us. And I'm like, wow, this is what they want. And you look at this, you see, but when you're in the house of mirth, you're like, man, let's go drink some tequila. Let's go party. And they don't know trouble is coming their way. Because who they're going after is people who are a lot of the time Middle Eastern. They're not going after the Asians, so to speak. They're not going after the Eastern European countries. Going primarily off of people who are from the Central America stuff. So notice here, that's sorrow. And that's a L. That's a loss. That's something bad. But we in the house of mourning, you'll be like, ain't no big problem. We make it happen, baby. And we're just going to have fun. We're going to live our best life. Notice in verse 4 it says, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. And that's the reality. Tonight, Friday night, there's going to be a whole bunch of young ladies get raped for the first time. But they don't know. Because they're going to the house of mirth, they're living their best life. Tonight, a whole bunch of people, male and female, is going to pick up some STDs. Because they're going to get drunk and they're going to have some fun. Tonight, a whole bunch of people are going to get pregnant and they're going to have to commit an abortion because they didn't even remember the name of the person who get them pregnant. They can't even pick him out of a lineup. All kind of stuff is going to happen in the house of mirth. But in the house of sobriety, it's like, ain't none of that going on. I always thought about it that how when we do whatever we do for a good time, it's just you have a good day, you go home. Ain't no drama. Like we went camping a few weeks ago as a church, and it's one of our best camping trips. And we did our kayaking, we did our hiking, we did our various different group activities and whatever. And we had a good time and we go home. Ain't nobody being dragged off in the bush and getting raped. At least I don't know for that. Ain't none of that craziness going on. But when somewhere where there's drugs, alcohol, all kind of madness going on. And a lot of what people talking about as being fun is being drunk or high. Have you ever? I've watched. I don't know if you've ever watched some of the Woodstock stuff, and I've seen it. And I'm thinking you must be high to think that's entertainment and good music, because it's just a lot of time. Yeah, yeah, it's just screaming and it. And somebody said, "Well, that's good music." You're like, "Okay, it's good, right?" And they say, "Yeah, yeah, it's good, it's good." And I'm like, "You high? It's the weed, and it's the free sex, and it's the drug that make it that good." And I'm sure there was some what do you call it, outstanding performance probably by the music player. I can't remember his name, the guitarist that died young of drugs again and alcohol. It's a lot of things that people think, oh, it's so great, it's the best life. It ain't no best life. It's the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. It is this thing where you take it to heart, because when stuff need to be mourned, you mourn it. And when stuff need to be happy, you're happy over it. We got to be touched with all of our range of emotion. Our range of emotion can't be happy. If you see somebody that's always happy, it's a fool. That's just how I look at it. You can't be always happy. It's a fake. It's a put on. It's a scam, because there's up times and there's down times. I remember the story of that I talked about before of I always forget his name, the famous comedian that did Jafar. I think Jafar did or whatever in Aladdin. And he said this lady came up to him in an airport and said, make a joke. And he says, no. He says there's up times and there's down times. I think you're some clown. You know what I mean? It's there's a time for that. There's a time and place for everything. That's what Solomon says. There's a time for mirth and there's a time for sadness. We can't always be in the house of fun, fun, fun. But some people, if it's not fun, they're not in it. And you show me a person who is a mess. I've never met a person that the only one mode of emotion is celebration, fun, games, and all that. And you show me a person is a mess in their personal life and they're not happy. They fool people. Oh, look at me. Some of the most depressed people. I go on the Facebook page and every time you see them, they had some activity. Activity. They don't stop acting, and the most depressed, psychologically messed up people. You can't be in that mode all the time. It's impossible. I am, you know what I mean? Some clown. I always have a smile painted on my face. It's a clown. Verse 5 says, it is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. Again, you are some foolish little boy, and he's so dumb. I remember one time I was with my wife and I saw this video of somebody famous, and I saw the video. Yeah, Robin Williams. I always forget his name. Thanks for texting me. I saw the video of this. I was with my wife. I saw this video of this famous person who's a rapper, and tomorrow I said he sounds like some of the boys on the side of the street that you grew up hearing. I'm sure when you were young. I'm not sure. And if you were young, you had this phenomena where kids would get up in a group and somebody would either start singing, rapping, or DJing or whatever. And I remember being there, and then you hear somebody and you say, "This is a famous person, but he sounds like a." He sounds like a fool. Sounds like one of these little kids. It's just nonsense, basically. So a lot of what we talk about as high entertainment is nonsense. It is so nonsensical. So it's better to hear the rebuke of a wise. And people don't like this. And as I say, I think one should not have a problem with the rebuke of a wise if you're making sensible decision. But if you're just making a shipwreck of your life, I know personally people who every single day, every single week it's a drama. They make some of the dumbest decision, and they'll turn up at church and fall asleep. And I'm like, that's why you just want fun. I've known some people also. If I'm not preaching prophecy, if I start talking about just end time and going to the Bible and doing prophet, oh man, they love it. Oh man, that's the sweetest thing. Let's talk about character development. They fall asleep. I go, oh no, let's get back to prophecy. Oh yeah, get me the shot in the arm. Let's get me the entertainment. But let's talk about character, the character you need to be to get over. See my time here, so let me run to some more text here because I want to share some more thoughts beyond this text. It says, it's better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the songs of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of fools. It's like, it's nothing. It's just being incinerated. This also is vanity. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, because he's wise. And so when I hear about people with millions of dollars, multi-billionaires, people who just have so much money that they're driving around with these big old pickup trucks that bellowing diesel out of it, and they just polluting the environment, and they're just full of themselves. And I see this, and these people see somebody want to come to America, work for $5, and they hate, and they're jealous and all kind of stuff. I was like, what foolishness is this? It make you mad, especially madder and just filled with rage when you know that the work, you can go for yourself and see the documentary of the devastation the CIA caused in Central America, in El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, all these countries. And then you see these people fleeing from the demonic activity, the devilish activity that the Central Intelligence Agency did. And they come in here now, we say, don't come to our country. We mess up yours, don't come. So you see, if you're wise, you see, but a fool will hear me say all this. I'm thinking, what are you saying? You need to go back to where you come from. And I'm like, I think about that all the time. So it's surely the oppression of make it a wise man mad. But if you're foolish and you just want to wrap yourself in a flag and get all jingoistic and all kind of patriotic for nonsense, and not understanding that human beings are wicked across the board, you're not mad. You feel good. But surely make a wise man mad. A gift destroyeth the heart. That means a bribe destroyeth the heart. Verse 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. Praise the Lord. That's so true. And the patient in spirit better than the proud in spirit. Because pride goeth before fall. When this person start being full of themselves and full of all kind of stuff, they start being full of bleep, bleep, bleep. That's what they start being full of. Because that's what the problem is. Because they're too full of themselves. You see somebody full of themselves and they just think, oh, I'm better than you. To me, just think about it. To me, that's if you asked me 20 years ago, I would I could tell you scientifically some of the problems with evolution. But now I became so simplistic in my understanding to it that I forget about all of that. And I say, you know what the problem is? To tell a person that they're superior to everybody else. And try to tell them it's scientifically proven that you're superior. And then you say, well, where's the science? I'm so glad that I did certain jobs when I was younger. So I saw for myself that this is foolishness. Why you tell me this is superior? But this is pride. It's not philosophy. It's not science. It was to teach pride. That people, oh yeah, you white supremacist, you're white nationalist, you're full of yourself. But pride goeth before a fall. And a heart to look before bombs dropping on the Germans. That's the reality. In Luke chapter 21, verse 34 through 36, Luke chapter 21, verse 34 through 36, it says, and take heed to yourself, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that they come upon you unawares. For as a snare it shall it come, and all them that dwell on the face of the earth, or the whole earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man, to be judged. So that's important. In order for you to be prepared truly for the end of times, you have to study to show yourself approved. You have to be able to watch. You have to see what's coming. So if I'm watching, I see a movement. Somebody say, why are you alarmed by that movement? Why are you not alarmed by it? I'm alarmed by all the movements. But when I see them make a step where I think, whoa, the society should say, wait. Especially the society that have taught us about conspiracy theory. They should say, that's like deputizing the ICE agents to become like the SS of the German system. You can't do that. You're turning the monster upon the people in the society. But they will say, no, it is only the brown-skinned people who turn their monsters. So it's good. They need the monsters to turn on them. See, but it is alarming, but you never hear no alarm bells. At least very little alarm bells. It's where everybody's just say, wait, you're going too far. But they're saying no, because they're gonna make us great again. They're doing it for us. And we're like, no, you silly, don't. This is blindness. You will not only unleash darkness upon the society, but the wrath of God shall burn hot. You're trying to hurt people who are good people. Even though the society have told us that if you're brown, you can't be good. But you can't do that. So notice here, again, take heed to yourself, lest your heart become overcharged. You can become too much. It's like you have a coke binge. You don't care about what's going on in society. Surfeiting, you're out of control. Everything is done to excess. And drunkenness, you're not sober. We gotta know that this is not no laughing matter. And when I say these things, people are like, oh no, you're just having a certain point. And I'm telling you, this is trouble. It is alarming to me because what it is, the society didn't move. The society should have said, no, we gotta stop this. You're taking that joke now too far. But what the society was told is this is being done to make them great. So they think, oh no, it's good. They're gonna make me. It's good for me. Good, excellent. You don't unleash darkness in the society. It will come back and burn the people who think it's against other people. It's not me. I guess I need to make it more sober, but I can't. It's just you have to get it or you don't get it. It is darkness. It's gross darkness. You can't, because now you're taking away freedom from people who shouldn't have the freedom. And they have not analyzed that a lot of people, if you go to most churches now, you see that the churches, a lot of it is filled even with brown-skinned people. You're going to end up turning it on people who pray to God, people who have not done anybody wrong. We're not out here trying to rob and kill and steal. We're not the Epsteins of this world and the Donald Trump who are groping women. We're not doing none of that. So to target us, why? And saying how is it going to make the country? Are you going to target people who are moral and make it better? So this is a problem. So notice here in Hosea chapter 4 verse 10 and 11. Hosea 4 verse 10 and 11. It says, for they shall eat and not have enough, and they shall commit whoredom and shall not increase, because they have left off to take heed to the Lord, because they don't take nothing to heart. Whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. Verse 11 is what I wanted to read. So whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. The heart is taken away, so the heart can't focus on anything serious. They can't get it. Like I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people who hear what I say here this morning. I can't get it. I don't understand what he's saying. Can't get it. I can't get it. Drugs, alcohol, partying, utopian belief, whoredom, whoremongering, all these things, they take away the heart, mess up the heart. So the heart don't get it. But yet the Bible predicts to us, the Bible tells us that what the Lord wants to do with you and I, with the society, is simply this found in Ezekiel 36 verse 24 through 25. Ezekiel 36 verse 24 and 25, it says, for I will take you for I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all the countries, and I will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness and from all your idols, and I will cleanse you. Also, the Lord says later on in that chapter that He will give us a clean heart, not only clean our heart, but He'll give us a heart of flesh and not a heart of stone. What is it that we need in our society is basically, when it's all said and done, with all this talk about everything, is that people need to not only be sobered up and take things to heart, but also people need a heart of flesh so they can love their neighbor as themselves. And as the question is, who's my neighbor? My neighbor is everybody. My neighbor is especially not my people, because that's obvious. My neighbors, people who are others, people I see as my enemy. This are not being taught in the churches, for them to know that your neighbor is not your people, is other people. It's not people in your community per se. Those are obviously your neighbor, but it's those that are from not your community. And we need to love them like ourselves. But that only comes when God changes our heart and gives us a heart of flesh. That when we see others suffering, we might say, that could be me, but for the grace of God, I could be that person. Somebody, oh no, that could be not my person. That's a low life or whatever. I could be that person. And so I need to have mercy for that person. And that's what we need to have. And when we start thinking like this, then it sobers us up. But that sobriety, I think, don't come until God change our heart, change our desire, and maybe we want to love others and love ourselves. And when we love ourselves and treat ourselves right, then we see this is how we're supposed to treat others. I pray that God may bless you and I to this end, that we might truly soften our heart to our friends, our neighbors, even those that are not for a household. As I said, the rest of the text, all the way to verse 30, deals with some of that. Just run out of time here. Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, I thank you for the blessings of your word. I pray, dear Lord, that truly we might be comfortable. We might be at rest in the house of mourning, that we can receive the emotion, that we can sober up, dear Lord, and we can have the right thoughts of what to do to not only live a better life, but to be saved. May you bless us, dear Lord, that we might always commit ourselves and our keeping and all the ways of our lives to thee. Be with everyone that was here, and truly, dear Lord, may they take sense from what I was trying to communicate for Christ's sake. Amen. Thanks for being with me here on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you again live Monday morning, where we should talk about motivation. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.